Did you know there was an axe murder on Long Island in 1854? The event I'm about to discuss was one of the most gruesome murders to ever happen on the east end of Long Island. So, in the mid 1600s, the Wickham family moved from the southern coast of England to the United States. They specifically originally settled in Bridgehampton. In 1698, Joseph Wickham moved his family from Bridgehampton, where he previously operated a tannery, to Cutchogue and purchased 160 acres and the farmhouse that I believe is still on the grounds to this day where the murder took place. Now, this was right before the 1700s. Fast forward to 1845, James Wickham moved with his wife, who was of the Post family, Frances Post, to the farmhouse to retire. Back then, he managed the farm with a couple of servants, including one named Nicholas Bain, who was from Ireland. Nicholas was described as a very large man, and I believe he was over 6 foot tall. He also had a drinking problem, which we all know is a horrible combination, and he apparently would make advances towards the servant girls that worked on the farm, and one of them in particular, named Ellen Holland, he had asked to marry him, and upon her rejection, which, not surprised she rejected this man, he got very angry. He also apparently around this same time stole $30 from her, which is exactly what you want to do when you want somebody to accept your marriage proposal. Note my sarcasm. But that was probably like the equivalent of like $500 back then, which is crazy. So James Wickham had enough of this man. On May 31st of 1854, he terminated Nicholas's employment. Nicholas continued to hang around the farm, which just shows how much compassion James must have had, for a couple of days, and then on June 2nd, he was evicted from the farm. They forced him to leave because he continued harassing the female servants, and probably the other servants too, probably all of them. So Nicholas left the farmhouse screaming that he was going to get revenge, and he was supposed to take a train at Greenport, but he instead checked his bags in town and then began to walk back to Cutchogue and arrived back there at 11 p.m. that night. And you probably know where this is going. So he searched the yard for some kind of weapon and found an axe, and he then headed into the farmhouse. 2 servant girls who were in the house heard the screams of Mr. and Mrs. Wickham, escaped, I believe through a window, to the neighbor's house and were fortunately able to save themselves. Now, this is where you guys can come in and correct me or just give me some more information, because I've read that Nicholas killed 3 people on this night, but I haven't been able to find confirmation about who the third person was. James and Frances tragically did lose their lives to this crazy person on this night. The 2 telltale signs that it was Nicholas was that he did leave his hat behind at the crime scene, and there were huge bloody footprints leading away from the farmhouse. So everybody who investigated it was pretty sure it was him. He also went directly into hiding after this event. The Wickhams were a very beloved family in the town, so this caused a manhunt to begin. A couple of days later, Nicholas was found in the woods by a swamp with objects with him as if he was planning on taking his own life. I don't want to get this video banned, so I don't want to go into detail, but it seemed very clear that he was planning to take his own life. So once he was caught, the townspeople wanted to execute him right away, but he was instead arrested and jailed for 4 months, and then on December 15th of 1854, he was hanged. The Sag Harbor militia was called in to keep order, and it turned out to be the largest public execution in the country, probably to this day, because I don't think that we probably did that for too much longer after 1854, but feel free to correct me in the comments. So this is another tragic part of the story, but Frances Wickham did die before James. So because of that, because of the way their wills were written, the Wickham farmhouse was able to stay in the Wickham family, and I believe that they still manage the farm to this day. So that is one good outcome of this whole thing. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you knew about this previously. I didn't know the full story until I actually researched it, and it's a very sad story. And if you like weird history, don't forget to like and follow and share this video.